Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. George Bernard Shaw. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Before I jump into this week's episode, I want to remind you all that I want to start hosting Boss Collective Zoom parties here on the podcast. But in order for me to do that, I need for some of you out there listening to go over and complete the interest form. What is a Boss Collective Zoom party, you might ask? It will be a time that we discuss a topic that will help us in business, help our businesses grow. You can ask questions, and you'll have an opportunity to give a 60-second pitch or plug for your business. Check out the link in the show notes to stay in the know and get information around our first Boss Collective Zoom party. Now, let's jump into this week's episode. Today, I want to discuss something that every entrepreneur must face at some point, and that is change. It's a new year, which is the perfect time to reevaluate your business, identify what's working, and make the necessary adjustments to move forward. This episode is inspired by a decision that Ethan and I recently made about our own businesses. You see, revenues in Zeus's Closet and Stuffer Greeks were lower than we'd hoped or expected last year. Meanwhile, Ethan's new business, Simple Success Systems, has taken off and demands more of his time. So we've decided to shift our roles a bit. I'm going to take more of the lead in our current business, and he'll focus on growing Simple Success Systems. In the past, we were pretty much equal in the office, working on Stuffer Greeks, working on Zeus's Closet, but we're making a bit of a change. Now, this is not an easy choice. It wasn't an easy choice because now I have to be in the office more often, and I really do actually enjoy working from home. But it is a necessary change in order for us to actually grow both businesses to where we want them to be. Truthfully, Ethan and I should have probably done this a year ago, but change can be uncomfortable, and you don't actually know how it's all going to work out at the end of the day. But today, I wanted to share this with you because it's really important that we embrace change when it comes to our businesses, and I want to share with you the steps that we took that actually led us here. If you may recall, if you listened to episode 230, where I shared the Boss Up book, $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan, he likens entrepreneurship to a continuing flow of experiments. Of course, when you're running any type of experiment, you have to adjust your variables or your constants to get the result you want or need. If something isn't working, we don't keep doing the same thing over and over. We have to change it. There is a saying credited to Henry Ford. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Thus, as business owners, if we want different results, we must do something different. Sometimes this may be a small change. Other times it may be drastic. What played into us making this decision really was initiated because we took a moment at the end of 2024 to evaluate our businesses as well as our personal goals. And truthfully, Noah's discussion around having a freedom number led to this as well. So I just want to share with you our steps. Our first step began with reviewing our numbers. As business owners, we have to start with the data. Numbers don't lie, and they tell a story about what worked and what didn't. So we have to ask ourselves, which products or services performed best? Where were your biggest expenses? Were there any surprises, good or bad? In our case, lower revenues in Stuffer Greeks and Zeus's Closet, that was a surprise for us. It was unexpected. And we had shifted some strategies. We had cut marketing dollars earlier in 2024. And truthfully, we probably cut them too much because when I sat down to actually look at the numbers and I looked at the differences between the past 3 years of our marketing dollar spend, It was a drastic cut this year. And we also saw a drastic difference in our revenues. So we cut too much. In addition, with the lower revenues, our business can't and could not sustain both Ethan and I's income, plus our team. We had to circle back to some of the old marketing strategies that kind of fell by the wayside after the pandemic. And we also went back and revisited our pricing. So far, this year, 2025, has already been better than January of 2024. So that was our first step. We really dived into the numbers, not just the revenue numbers, but also the expenses. And we really looked deeply into our spending when it came to marketing. Secondly, we had to assess our current roles and priorities. Who is doing what? And does it make sense for the business? For us, Ethan stepping back from our shared businesses to focus on simple success was necessary because his expertise right now is better utilized there. He's also very, very passionate about discussing AI and automation and getting other companies up to speed. Here are some questions for yourself. Are you or your team members spending time on tasks that don't contribute to growth? Do you need to reallocate responsibilities or even hire new talent? Do you need to delegate some of your duties to focus on other strategies that will help you actually grow your business, grow that revenue number, reduce the expenses, increase that profit number? I know for us, hiring new talent is on my radar for Stuff for Greeks in Zeus's Closet. I truthfully feel like we need fresh perspective. Ethan and I have been in this business for 20 years. We need new ideas, and honestly, we need new energy. The third thing is we really had to identify what needed to change. We had to take a really hard look at what was not working and why. Is it a product? Is it a service? Is it a marketing strategy? Or maybe the way we're spending our time? We came to the conclusion that it was more around a marketing strategy, but we had to actually evaluate that and identify what needed to change. Sometimes it's not about scrapping something entirely, but tweaking it. For example, if your marketing campaign didn't land, is it the messaging, the audience, or the platform? If a product isn't selling, is it the price or does it need better promotion? These are all questions. These are all things you have to evaluate, tweak, change, experiment, see the results. As I mentioned, we cut our marketing spend, and this was something we really had to reevaluate. We've since upped our marketing spend, and perhaps that's where we're seeing the difference here in this January. And all of these things take time to trickle down. We also spent time on our email because we know that Google and Yahoo changed things when it came to email. We had to update our website. We had to do away with some kind of legacy email plans. And so those are things that you have to reevaluate in your business. Number 4, adjust your variables. This is where the experiment analogy comes in. Try changing 1 or 2 things at a time and measure the results. So some examples may be launch a new marketing strategy and track the engagement, introduce a new product line or refine an existing one, adjust pricing and observe how customers respond. The key is to make small intentional adjustments so you can see what works. After looking at our data, as I stated earlier, numbers don't lie, we decided to change our prices online, but we didn't change them in our physical brick and mortar location. One of the reasons or the rationale with that is online, people can easily compare pricing and make that adjustment fairly quickly. If someone drives to our brick and mortar store, there's 2 variables to keep in mind. One, they're interacting with a person who is on payroll, so they cost more. But secondly, they also drove over. They've spent gas, they've spent time. Are they likely going to walk out the door because the price difference is $5 or $10? Some people might, but most won't because they're going to lose just as much time driving to the next location or lose that expense in gas. It really just depends on the mentality of that person. But that was our rationale with that. We've also adjusted our marketing. So those are kind of the 2 adjustments that we've made, and we're seeing how that plays out. We're just trying them for now. Again, experimenting. Next on the agenda, though, is working on new designs. engage in a focus group, and trying out some old school marketing tactics like direct mail and sponsorship. But again, we don't want to do all of this at one time because then we won't really know what the driving force was for the increase or for the change. So we want to do intentional steps around each initiative. Lastly, we have to take a moment towards the end of this quarter to reevaluate again. Are we moving closer to our goal? Are we going in the right direction? All questions. I find that being in business is a lot of questions. And as a business owner, we're always here to solve problems. We're solving our problems internally, but our business solves a problem. We're always answering a question. As I mentioned, change isn't easy, but it's often necessary. And here are just some reminders to keep you grounded as you adjust if you need to make adjustments. And these are just as much for you as they are for me. They're probably more for me. But number one, let go of ego. Sometimes we hold on to things that aren't working because we're emotionally invested. And when I talk to you about being emotionally invested, I am always the person in our business that pushes back on any price changes, whether it's going up or going down. I'm always emotionally invested in wherever our prices are right now. And Ethan's the one who's willing to take the chance and change things. But we do become emotionally invested in things. And we've done that a number of times. We add new products. I don't want to get rid of them, even though they're not performing. We have to let go of that. We have to be willing to let go. And I'm having to let go of a couple of my work from home days, but I know it's for the good of the company, and that is what matters to me. Number two, we have to embrace flexibility. We have to view change as an opportunity, not a failure. Every adjustment, the goal is for every adjustment to bring us closer to success. And I do really feel like this change, these changes that we're making, is going to bring both of our companies closer to our seven-figure business goal. And number three, trust the process. Remember, your business, my business, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. No matter how excited we are to get to whatever our glorious finish line looks like, it is a marathon. Experimentation is part of the journey. When I tell you that we have made so many adjustments over the years in our business, 22 years in business, we've moved, we've added equipment, we've added people, we've removed people. I look back on meeting notes and my old planners, and I'm sometimes like, wow, I forgot we used to do that. We've changed decorating methods. Now, embroidery has always been a constant, but we've gone from heat transfer to direct to garment to direct to film. We've changed pricing. We've added a rush calculator. We've added products, removed products, added organizations, removed organizations. We've done so many tweaks and changes over the years, many times because we're trying to also make sure we're answering the call of the customer. But ultimately, the goal at the end of the day is to have a profitable, successful business that sustains and remains a stable part of our Greek community and our local community here in Atlanta. As I bring this episode to a close, we're stepping into a new year. We've stepped into it. We're here. If you haven't done this already, though, I do encourage you to pause and evaluate your business. Just take a moment to reflect on what's working, what's not working, what worked last year, what didn't work last year. Maybe you don't need any major changes, but it's still essential to review the numbers, reassess your roles, priorities, and goals, and ensure your business is truly serving you and your family. At the end of the day, as small business owners, our business is like a member of the family. It serves us in that it provides us with income for our family, for our home, our food, all the things we need. It serves us in that is a huge part of our lives. It's part of our kids' lives. It is a huge part of us. And so we need to evaluate and assess whether it's meeting the needs of our family. If you do identify areas for improvement, make the necessary adjustments. Remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about taking intentional, purposeful steps forward. I love the word intentionality. That is not my word for 2025. We'll talk about that one day. But I love the word intentionality because it means that we're acting with purpose and direction. Change is the one constant in life, and it's the same in business. It's true for business. Business is part of life. So change is constant. But when you take thoughtful, intentional changes based on where you want to go, you set yourself up for lasting success. Just wanted to let you guys know where we are right now because I know as business owners, there are things that we sometimes have to change, and it can be hard. Thank you for listening today. Take a moment to leave a review for the podcast, and don't forget to go sign up so you know about our first Boss Collective Zoom party. Don't miss it. And remember, now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.